Selling out is easy to do. It's not so hard to find a buyer for you. When money talks, you're under its spell. Ah, but what do you have when there's nothing left to sell?
Hello everybody, this is Finding My Audience with Alan Strickland Williams. I'm Alan Strickland Williams. You're the audience of which I am finding. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. I want to know. Sound off. You can always sound off in the comments. That's my promise to you. At Finding My Audience, I'm never turning off the comments. Because this is a dialogue. In a way that stand-up comedy is not. This is a dialogue. Let's see. I'm currently in Dublin. It is Monday, November 11th here. It's 8:10 p.m. It is a bone-chilling. Oh, it's funny. It's in centigrade. 6 degrees. It's 6 degrees here. I don't know what that translates to. It says it feels like 5 degrees. So it's actually 6 degrees, but it feels like it's 5 degrees. It's very cold here. It was cold in London as well, but not as bad. It's very cold here. Beautiful day today. Sun was out. Glad I got to tool around the city a little bit. More on that later. I'm going to try to go in order from London to Dublin, catch you guys up, kind of reacquaint myself with my own life. You guys ever forget what you do? I can't really remember anything I've done. But let's see here. You know what we could do? We can just kind of look through. Well, let's see. Last time we checked in, I think the last pod, I did the election one from here. But I kind of, unless it was related to the election stuff, I didn't really talk about everything else I've done. Last time we checked in, I was in Earl's Court in London. It was a nice part of town. It was interesting. It was like the first thing I saw when I got off the tube was a KFC, at which I ate. Pretty good KFC. I went to a place called the Troubadour for a drink. Had a good gin martini. Felt like a place where, on the show Industry, where the young people would go to get blackout drunk. It felt like that. And to that point, I did. I've been kind of looking around, and especially when you are on your own, you're kind of like, I don't even know if you want to go so far as to say like main character syndrome or like my life's a movie, but just like, I don't know. I've been in a very sort of participant observer phase recently, and just sort of taking it in, seeing what's out there, and so there's this like group of people at this bar, and I was kind of sat like kind of right in the middle of the whole bar. It was very tiny and it was packed. It was just happening. And so I'm at this really little table, and everything's just kind of crazy behind me, and kids are coming in, and everyone's dressed like they're on Industry. Like that, London was kind of like that. Like the vibe was pretty well dressed. I gotta say I felt pretty dressed down actually, because I only packed jeans on the trip, but a bunch of people came in, and it was just rowdy, a little rowdy, but not crazy, but just rowdy, loud. And there was a table of like 4 people, and they kept looking at me and pointing. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Am I doing something weird? Am I too old to be here? Whatever. It was a preschool. No, I was there, and then I turn around and I see that there's a guy that's just full on like at the bar like this. Like just completely zonked out. If you're not watching on the YouTube, I just sort of like threw my, we've seen this in America too, when people pass out. But man, it was so funny just because he was like in the middle of everything and all these people around him. So that was a good time. So far, the best gin martini I had was at the Hoxton Hotel. I got one before the They Might Be Giants concert. I think I'm going to do a They Might Be Giants episode. I think I mentioned that last episode too. So I'm gonna forego talking about that. I saw them in London. I saw them also in Dublin. let's see here. What I went to Greg's. Greg's in London is a maybe it's like their Dunkin' Donuts, I guess you could say. Although they have Dunkin' too, but it's where you get a sausage roll. And I did notice this too. The only thing, like every drink tastes weird, and every drink tasted weird. Every drink that was not a Coca-Cola or booze or alcohol, whatever. Like I tried multiple times to have like a sort of like orange drink or a pineapple drink, and they all taste diet. They all taste diet. Like there's aspartame in it or something, and it didn't say that on the list. So anyway, I've been drinking a lot of Coca-Cola and booze. I've checked out a pub called King's Head. It was very cute. It was like London is. I mean, everything's very tiny, compact. I mean, obviously, it's a huge town, but this pub I went to is like you go down this street, and also I'll say this, Dublin specifically, but London as well. Like if you look at your map to walk, and I walked a ton. It's been awesome. I do like that. And it wasn't too bad. I mean, the one thing I will say, yes, part of me is out here. I'm like, do I want to move? Do I want to leave America? Sure. Yeah, of course I do. I don't know if it would be to here. Now that I had a great time in London. I'm loving Dublin so far. God, the Irish, they're, it's funny. So like my whole thing, we're Alan Strickland Williams. So that's my name, right? Alan is my mom's maiden name. That is, and so I guess we're Scottish. I guess that side is Scottish. Strickland, that's my grandmother's maiden name, Scottish. And actually, a friend of mine, Liz, has been up there, and she actually sent me a screen grab of where she was at the time that we were talking when I was in London. And literally everything around where she was named Strickland. So pretty safe to say Strickland is Scottish as well. I thought that the Allens did some time in Ireland, so maybe there was a little bit here or there, but I guess predominantly, and then Williams is just English, And so I guess really we're Scots English. I've never really given a crap about any of this stuff. But it is kind of, I'm going to go to Edinburgh and Glasgow. I'm going to Edinburgh tomorrow. I'll update you from there as well. But it has been interesting. I mean, I guess you do kind of feel like you're getting to your roots a little bit. I don't know. I don't really know if I really believe in that stuff. But I will say that there have been some people that I'm like, oh, I probably we look the same. Like we just look the same. But I also though it's like England, it's like where they invented white guys, right? So it's like maybe that's just all that is. But yeah, so I went to this place called the King's Head. And by the way, that's what I call it when I go down on someone. You're getting the King's Head. But it was like this. It's like, okay, so streets here are funny because you look at your little map to walk on your phone, and it's like go down the street, and I'm like, that's not a street. That is a alley. Would be generous. It's like a single file line. But this place was cool because it's like you kind of go, and then you take a turn, and then it is like you're on literally a cobblestone little street, like just jammed between buildings up, and then like you go through the little door. It's interesting here because it's like I grew up in Florida, and now I live in LA, which is like strip mall central, right? And everything's stucco. And not to say that there aren't, completely garish buildings that I saw in both places, or both places I've been traveling to, but it's kind of just not. It's kind of just, I mean, you almost feel like you're in a movie set or something, because it's like the old train stations that have been there forever. They're like these real sort of ornate brick, and they have this glass. Some of them had stained glass, but then it's funny because then it's like clearly they had to be modernized. So then there's just like weird stairways just jutting out on the side, and like fire doors and things like that. So let's see. So Earl's Court, that's basically what was going down in Earl's Court. Trying to think if anything happened there really out of the ordinary or anything that I need to mention, but I'm pretty sure that about covers it. Kind of just getting the lay of the land there. Then I went to Notting Hill. I went because I've heard of it before, and I saw the movie, and I thought maybe I could meet Julia Roberts there. I have been looking around for a wife. just because I think it's funny, but also it's so I've been trying to be, kind of cute and, dress well or whatever and be charming when you talk to people. But, so far the only person I went on a date with someone who actually is from America, who I know randomly were in town. We through Twitter, greatest dating app I've ever been on, only dating app I've ever been on. So Elon can do whatever the hell he wants to it, in my opinion. But let's see, what did I do in Notting Hill? Oh, and what I'm going to do is, by the way, I'm going to kind of do the wholesome stuff. I'm going to do, that stuff here. And then I started on the Patreon. Patreons, thank you very much for being faithful and being patient. I have been good about recording while I'm here, so hopefully we'll bank up a lot, and then I'll be able to go back to LA and use the mixer and really, put some pop into this stuff. I know we're kind of just talking through everything right now, but so what I'm gonna do, I've been doing a thing on the Patreon in addition to the early access for the episodes. What I've also been doing, I just started. It's called Lagniappe. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's Cajun for a little extra, and so that's where I'm going to put the, let's say, less wholesome things. That's where that stuff will go. And I've had an experience in Dublin, and a couple in London that I will share. But for the wholesome stuff, went to Notting Hill. Notting Hill is also where Portobello Road is, Portobello Market. I don't know if we got any bedknobs and broomsticks heads out there, but Portobello Road, it was awesome. It was just like people milling about. I went to the Notting Hill bookshop from the movie. I didn't find Julia Roberts, but I did find this sassy minx named Jane Austen. I never read any Jane, and I bought Mansfield Park, and it is so good. Hold on, do I have it right here? Okay, let me just look at. Let me just try to pick it. Let me see if this works. I'm just going to try to pick a random. Like some of these sentences are so long and wordy. I should have actually found one and planned it, but let's see. What I do love about it, I can talk about that while I'm looking. What I love about it is the fact that the chapter lengths are perfect. They've been perfect for, like, you're at the pub, you're enjoying your pint, maybe you drink half your pint, you're done with the chapter. You go out, you have a cigarette, you come back, you read another chapter. Great for the tube. Like, I busted out I busted out some chapters today. I read about I got like 3 chapters in when I was taking the tube back to the airport to fly to Dublin. Let's see. It's probably not going to be able to. Let's see. That is a very foolish trick, Fanny, to be idling away all the evening upon a sofa. Why cannot you come and sit here and employ yourself as we do? If you have no work of your own, I can supply you from the poor basket. There is all the new calico that was bought last week, not touched yet. That's just dialogue. It's not good. But it's been really fun, and she would have been big on Twitter, Jane Austen. Jane Austen would have been good on Twitter. She's sassy, she's mean, she's very funny, and it's like a fucking long book. I think I'm okay to curse now at this point, right? Have we gone past? Oh my god, we've already done 13 minutes. Insane. I'm already 190 pages into this book, y'all, and it's long. It's like 488, and it's like the vernacular is very, it's so upper crust, very Downton Abbey, but it's just been really, really fun to read. I'm having a good time with it. Did I switch over to Sally Rooney's Normal People when I got to Ireland? Yes, I did. Wearing I guess that's like the equivalent of wearing the band t-shirt to the show. But more on that later. But let's see. So I picked that up, and then I kind of just Notting Hill was great. And Notting Hill was the only day in London where it wasn't even that the sun came out. It's just that clouds were not completely permeating the sky. Like, it was so funny when we landed because you're up above the clouds in the airplane. The airplane, how it goes up high in the sky. So I was up there and I was like, oh my God. And like, the sun was out. I think I landed around 3:34 p.m. or as they would say, like 1300 or 15, whatever it would be. But we go down to descend, how the plane lands. And it was just so funny. It's like you go down to the clouds, and then it's just the dreariest. And it was raining when we landed. But I got pretty lucky with the weather in London. Like, it wasn't too cold. It only rained a little bit, and I think I was in the hotel for most of it. It did rain on me a little bit in Dublin last night, or 2 nights ago. But it was like a mist. It was fine. But yeah, so it's been very depressing. That's the thing. I do have the seasonal affective disorder thing. I mean, I'm also just pretty much depressed all the time in general. But I do not. I think I would walk into the River Thames if I really lived here. It is very dreary. It is very depressing. So Notting Hill, the sun was out. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. And I was just kind of reading at the bar or at the pub, having a Carlsberg or having a Prava, fish and chips, did the fish and chips thing. Oh, I did have, at one pub, at the hotel, there was a pub across the street from the hotel I stayed at Notting Hill. And, it was cold-ish. And so I was like, oh, I bet the pub will have a soup, And I go and they do, and it was not barley, it was leeks and potatoes. And I thought that a leek was basically what they called bok choy. A leek is not what they call bok choy. A leek is, as I can tell, maybe an inedible type of plant. And it was the most disgusting thing. I didn't like it. It wasn't good. It was definitely the worst thing I've eaten the whole trip, even counting KFC. But it just was really inedible, and like I had to brush my teeth afterwards. But let's see, what else in Notting Hill did I do? I went to this one pub. I think it was called the Duke of Wellington. Everything's the Duke of Wellington, or like the Queen's Head, or the Royal Albert, or whatever. But I met someone. There's an older gentleman that came up to me, and later on I kind of realized maybe he was hitting on me a bit. Because then we followed each other on Instagram, and he put a bunch of sunflowers on one of my posts. But he was a really, really charming old gent, and I think he was from Scotland originally, but he's lived in London for a really long time. And he, of all the people, people in London, people either really, really talk to you, and they really kind of like, in a way that's sort of like almost annoying. And I thought everyone in London would be very staid and very standoffish, and a lot of distance between people. People will get right up in your grill here. They will just get right up in there. And this guy, he's like, no, you're creative. I can tell you're creative. And I was like, yeah, I do comedy. And he goes, oh, do you know Scott Capurro? Who, I don't know if any of you guys know Scott. I would interact with him here and there when I used to go to San Francisco a lot. He's a San Francisco guy. Really nasty in a funny way. But like I've seen him walk friends of mine at shows. Because he just goes for it. And I think he's one of those comics that will appear on Fox News here and there. He was in do you remember in Mrs. Doubtfire how they're the two? It's Harvey Firestein and the other guy. They're Aunt Frank and Uncle Jack. I think maybe those are the characters' names. But Scott is the other guy. Scott is not Harvey Firestein. And I think he's very, very funny. But just small world. This guy knows Scott. This guy was an antiques guy. He sells like glassware and things like that. And he knows Scott. And Scott was actually, I think Scott's probably in London now, because the guy was like, "Oh, Scott's coming to my flat on Thursday. We should all meet up." And I was like, "Oh, I'm switching hotels that day, and I appreciate the offer." But yeah, just what a small world, It's kind of crazy. And then I think I mentioned this on the other one, but yeah, I met a girl from Culver City at the American Watch party. So it is a wee world, isn't it? It's a wee world. So let's see. After Notting Hill. Oh, the other thing about Notting Hill, there was a school across, and it's like funny, like when you think of a school in America, it's like schools just don't look like that here. Schools are in like weird old hospitals here and stuff like that. And like I was like, you hear the children, and like there wasn't really a balcony I could go out on. There was a balcony on my hotel, but I couldn't get out on it. But you could still kind of see out, and then you look out, and it's like all these little kids, and like the girls are like remember those Madeline books, like when you were a kid, like it was just cute. It was just like, oh my god, everything here is kind of picturesque, and except for when it's so dreary. That was also the nice day. But let's see, what else did I do? I went to after Notting Hill. I went to Shoreditch. Everyone told me to go to Shoreditch. I guess it's kind of hipstery. The bars were open a little later there. I went to this place called the Cocktail Club a couple of times that I really liked. Bartender was really nice. It was kind of, it's like people would talk to you and stuff. And some people were like, they didn't want to talk about politics or anything at all. And some people were like so ready to get into it. And the sort of prevailing sentiment, and I saw comic old friend of mine, April Richardson. She reached out to me. She lives outside of London. So we went up, and I wanted to go to the Tate Modern, so we did that. We tooled around. I also saw my friend Sima Ferdos, who's I might be saying that wrong, Ferdows. She's a very, very funny, she's funny, but she's a great producer. She produced a lot of comedy. She produced a show at the Elysian, this comic puppeteer, ventriloquist, Lachlan Werner, who had a really, really funny, like Halloween-y, sexy, eerie show at the Elysian. She produced that. I met up with her, and she took me to a place called Novelty Automation. I think it's called Novelty Automation. Let me actually just look it up right now, because I can do that because I am in charge. Novelty Automation. Do you know what automatons are? It's basically like a fancy word for like robot, basically. But it's like these games, experiences, whatever you want to say, where you go in and you like pay for tokens, and then you can play all these things. Like there's one that was like your own nuclear reactor, and you have to like use this crane to open this thing. And then there's one that was all about bed bugs, and then there was one about probing an alien organism. Then there was a hadron collider. Like there's a game. There was one where you're on two bikes. Me and Sima were on these two bikes next to each other, and the way you pedaled played the Atari game Pong. So one side, and it was very tricky, but very cool. If you are ever in London, if you like the Museum of Jurassic Technology in LA, you would like this. It's also just fun because it's like tactile. It'd be a great date thing. And then that was really fun. So I got to see Sima, so that was cool. And then I went to Shoreditch because I'm a shore bitch. And it was fine, but I just think I did this well, and then it was annoying too because I was supposed to have a show in this place called Hammersmith, so I got a hotel there, and then that show got canceled, and then I was apparently put on another show, but no one ever really got back to me. So, which is honestly fine. Honestly, it's fine. Hey, I tried. Do I think that I would? I would really like to see how I would do over here. I think I would do well. I think it also just would be fun to mix it up, but I'm not going to lie to you at all, because I had to do my taxes when I was in London. I had to do all this tax stuff. So it was like that, and the election really kind of, I still had a good time, but there's always something hanging over me I need to do, and I'm just now realizing too, I need to get new car insurance because my Esurance just stopped being a car insurance company in California, which sucks because I've been with them so long, my rate was so low. So now I got to redo it. Oh, I think I probably even messed up. I think I waited too long. Oh, well, I guess I'm going to be committing crimes in America when I get back. But nothing new. But God, there's always something to do. You could never just not have anything to do. Oh, it drives me crazy. I just want like 4, 5, 6 days where you literally just don't have to do anything and you can just mill about. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be okay. But in that sort of, in that spirit, yeah, I didn't really mind not doing the show. And Friday night, I had just a good time. But yeah, so then I met up with April. We went to the Tate Modern. We just kind of caught up. I hadn't seen her in forever. She was always so cool. I was surprised that she wanted to hang out, but then I was also like, oh, she probably she even said that she was like, please tell everyone that comes here to hang out with me. So it was good to see her. The Tate was awesome. I'm really glad I got to do that. I actually didn't really get to do the touristy London things. Oh, here's a really dumb. Here's a great dumb story. So things close early there. Like it's not like here or there or whatever. Dublin actually does seem to be. Dublin does go a little later. And I even went to I'll get to Dublin later, but in Shoreditch, I met up with April, down to the tourist stuff, or did the Tate Modern, but I haven't been to Big Ben yet. I haven't been to anything, so I moved around all this time. I stayed in Earl's Court, I stayed in Notting Hill, I stayed in Shoreditch. These were all just 2-night stays. Dumb. Bad dumb Alan. I wanted to get different vibes. I wanted to see what was up. But what I should have done was, what I probably should have done was just, if I did it again, I would just stay in Notting Hill, and then the Tube is awesome. The buses are awesome. You can just get everywhere fairly quickly. You can walk to a lot of places. I am going to be back in London, so I'm going to try to hit some touristy stuff, for that last moments there. But, the Tate was great. Let's see, what else did I do that I wanted to talk about? Oh, so what I did was I went to see ABBA Voyage. Do you know what ABBA Voyage is? ABBA Voyage is it's a concert. It's kind of like a comedy concert. It's a concert, but it's these holograms of ABBA, and they have their whole there's an arena. It's like crazy. You get off the Tube and there's like this big stadium that literally just in huge letters just says ABBA lit up, and it was so impressive. Got Frida looked good. That hologram looked good. Oh God, and then this happened. But okay, well, let me talk a little bit more about the show. It was really moving. It was honestly crazy because they were very vigilant about no one taping, no one videoing anything, probably because it's proprietary technology. I guess I think it was George Lucas, ILM, Industrial Light and Magic that worked on it. And actually, one of the bartenders I met at that cocktail club, he worked on the production of it too. And there were a lot of physical production elements. Like there were these, there were like I want to say maybe 100 or maybe less, but mirrors that would just come down from the ceiling and reflect light in different ways. They had lights shooting everywhere, lasers. There was some of the stuff was sort of animated. They would have these animated sequences, but it's like you don't want to be very, very, very close, but even if you're not that far away, like it looked really good. And because they were so sort of vigilant about no one videotaping, it was ironically one of the most like locked in, keyed in communal audience experiences because no one had their phone out. And everyone was just kind of watching. And now, granted, people were still getting wasted, and some people were just kind of being loud and annoying or whatever. But it was cute, and it was like, there were like young people there, Gen Z, even younger. And then there was clearly like the gaggle of older ladies that probably went to see ABBA when they were young and everything. And oh my God, so many shiny sequins jackets. Everyone looked good. Everyone was having a good time. Almost positive ABBA must be the height of white culture, right? I mean, not to make it a thing like that, but it's just like, ABBA is so good. Like, the songs are so good. I mean, I got very emotional, Winter Takes It All, Knowing Me, Knowing You. I mean, I was like, oh my God, like it was hitting so hard, especially because I've been on this dating hiatus and stuff, and kind of got, it was interesting because, it's like ABBA, they all hate each other, right? Because they were two married couples. They divorced at the height of their fame. The guys hate each other. I think the girls probably like each other. I don't even really know about that. But the vibes are, it's like Fleetwood Mac at least will pretend every once in a while to get back together and go on a tour. I was like, nah. I was like, no way. But we will do this weird hologram thing. And then they each of one of them came out and had a little moment where they would speak. And so it's like we're having this completely like locked in experience for these holograms that aren't really real. There was a live band there. The live band was great. They joined in on some of the songs. They had some singers that carried a song or two, and really well done. But it was just funny. It's like you think about these people that worked together for so long, that wrote so many great songs and put out so much good music, and now they hate each other's guts. And it's like I couldn't help but think about, like, if my hologram saw some of the people in my lives holograms, I hope that they would be able to come together and put on a good show. I hope they would. I don't know if they would. Knowing me, my hologram, knowing me, knowing you, I don't know. But it was really moving. It was really moving. It would be, I will say this, if you like ABBA, if you're going to London, go see it. Figure it out. Go see it. Get on the dance floor, kind of go to the middle and the back, or even get seated. I wish I had gotten a seated seat, honestly. I mean, I was dancing a little bit, but, I'm just a guy on my own, so it's like I'm not going to be too, whatever. Okay, but this is what happened. So then I'm like, there was one of this, like at one point I went out to get a drink. I was getting very high because I gave my big coat away, or to the cloakroom, but I didn't give my this one away. And I was so sweaty and hot. And so I just needed some fresh air. And then on my way back into the arena, I went to the bar, and I noticed this. People are very pushy here, and maybe it's not even a nationality thing. Maybe it's a big city thing. I don't feel like this way in LA a lot. LA's not a real city. LA is a magical place, which is getting less magical by the day, it seems. But I'm in line, and this woman just kind of cuts right in front of me and goes up to the bar in front of me. And maybe I wasn't standing close enough to the bar, I don't know. And I clocked her, and I saw her earlier in the night too, and she looked like one of my exes. She carried herself in the same way. And then she kind of must have felt a little self-conscious or something, and I did not make a peep. I was like, hey, I'm a stranger to strange land, you cut me, whatever. I don't care. I'm having a good time. I'm watching these ABBA holograms sing and dance. And then this woman, she turns around and she just goes, well, I'm meeting my friend in there, and I need to get her a drink or something like that. I don't know if it was Cockney. It kind of sounded like the blonde girl, not the fancy blonde girl that owns the soccer team, but the sort of the other blonde girl from fucking Ted Lasso. I'm just kind of like, like, and then I was like, oh my God, not only does she look like this ex, that same cadence, it's not, obviously it's not the same accent, but like, this girl was from Boston. I don't know if anyone has ever had the pleasure of dating a woman from Boston, but wow, yikes, right? Gee whiz. But she turns around and she's just like, well, I'm meeting someone there. Are you meeting anyone? And I go, no, it's fine. Just do your thing, whatever. And then she kind of was like, well, I just have to get back in there right away. And I'm like, okay, like, fine. And then after another beat, then she turns around and she goes, well, what are you drinking? And I was like, excuse me? She goes, I'm not coming on to you, but what are you drinking? I'll get you a drink. And I just go, I'm fine. Get what you need for your friend, and I'm fine. And she goes, just tell me what you want. And I just go, lady, stop talking to me. And I just went over to like the other bar, because in that moment what I felt was an intense attraction to this person, because this is what I normally do, is I normally try to find someone who's getting in a fight with pretty much everyone in the bar. That's usually that's what I like to go for. But I am getting older, I'm getting a tad more wise, and I just kind of saw our whole future together, and I just said, lady, stop talking to me, and walked away, and it felt so good. And then I went back to the show, and it was fantastic. So let's see, I think that kind of, this is what I was going to say too. So there was one night, I think this was when I was still in Earl's Court, but I wanted to go out later, and things closed at like 10:30, 11 in that neighborhood. It was, I don't think it was the weekend. I think it was, or maybe it was, I can't remember. But anyway, I remember, oh, from that Pulp song, Bar Italia, and it's all about the place you go after the bar closes. And so I go, oh, cool. Maybe this is like either a late night bar or an after hours or whatever. This is the only time the only time I didn't take public transportation was to go to this place because I just wanted to get there, and it's a coffee shop. So I got like the best latte of my life at like 1 a.m. And then I did, it was in the Soho area, so I did kind of wander around and found something and just had a drink or two, and went back home. But I just thought that was a really nice sort of humbling, Alan, you're a dumbass moment. But what I did get out of that was interesting. I love cities at night. I love when one time me and back in college, I remember when I was with this one girl, we would stay up all night all the time. We both couldn't sleep. We were probably doing other stuff too. Not so wholesome, but we would routinely, it happened a couple times, we would see it was like a vehicle, but also had like literally like a little paint arm brush on the back. It was painting the lines in the street, like repainting them, covering them up. And I love stuff like that. And so what I did see on the way back from my error in judgment and failure to research where I was going, I did see the crazy huge Harrods, their huge department store here. I saw them putting up the like ridiculously ornate Christmas decorations at probably 2 a.m. or so, and that was pretty cool. But let's see. I mean, we've really gone. So what I'm going to do is, I think that's basically London so far. That's everything I wanted to hit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to later on do some sort of not so wholesome stories for the Patreon. And then when we pick up again, we'll do more of a Dublin recap from there. But thank you guys for listening. Appreciate y'all. Please stream or buy Ran Through. You can stream it on Spotify. You can stream it wherever. If you're going to buy it on Bandcamp. And if you want to pre-order the vinyl, that will come out in February of 2025. Thank you for listening. I love you. Keep calm, carry on, and I'll see you in the funny paper.